Sure you can. I don't. Jen, I don't give a fuck if you curse.
Well, fucking shit. Okay.
Okay, this is a good start. In the first 15 seconds. Okay. Anyways,
Just like say that.
well, now that we've resolved all of our plugin issues and installation, I think we're
Yay.
ready to start our very second lesson. The first one that we're actually going to record. Um, okay, so I have a very special title of this particular class, but I'm not going to reveal it yet because I want to cover what we talked about last time. So these are some commands that we covered, right? So we covered cd, which stands for
Change directory.
change directory. All right, change. Anybody?
Wait. What did you just ask?
Wait, what did you ask? Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
did
that's
I
the
mute
thing
out?
that tells you where you are. Um,
Yeah, what does PWD stand for?
Print working directory.
yeah, that.
Boom, right there. Much my mic actually craps out on me because Cass, before you jumped on the call, I was telling Jen that there's a setting in Google Hangout. Maybe I can actually turn that setting off. But if you make too much noise with the keyboard, it will automatically mute you. So
Oh,
interesting, right?
yeah.
Okay, what does this one stand for? Now I don't care about these extra flags. What's the LS stand for?
List.
List.
Yay.
And do you happen to remember what any of these flags do? The dash A or the dash L?
Uh,
And they don't actually stand for anything. Actually, let's find out if they do.
Is it dash AL or are they separate things? Because I know
They
what A and L are.
they are what are A and L?
I don't have
A
that in my notes. What is that?
A shows hidden files and L formats a list in a nicer way.
Shit. Cass nailed it. All
I
right.
took notes.
Uh,
All right. Very nice. I'm gonna go into lamp. Okay. That's not what I wanted. Come on. There you go. So let's find out what they actually stand for. So one cool thing in Linux is you can actually do a dash dash help on any command, and it'll actually print out what these options are for. And let's see. So L, long listing format. So that's what that stands for. A is for all, showing it will not ignore everything. So A stands for all, so show everything or show all, and then use a long listing format. And LS has all these crazy commands, but those two are the ones I use the most. If you want to know the size of a file, you can put in S flag, that kind of thing. But let's not derail this more. So a okay, we did an SVN checkout, which pretty much is self-explanatory. That is a checkout of the SVN repo. We also did a bunch of VI stuff. And I don't remember what VI stands for, but what are some things that we learned in VI? We learned to /search, right? So when you're in VI,
oh yeah,
you can, so what do we got? I got index. So VI index, I could do /have, and there it finds it. So that's one. So /search. We also have a colon line number. So this jumps to the line number that you want to go to. So 5. So that jumped to line 5. So colon line number. I stands for insert. Okay. So it switches to insert. What does colon Q do?
Quit.
Quit. Jen beat me.
Haha.
I'm tempted to keep points, but I feel like that's mean.
That's
Mean.
kind of mean.
Because Jen will win.
Well, what do you say that, Cass?
But that's why it's mean, because Jen will win, not because...
What? No, I feel like Cassie would win.
Well, now I feel like doing it to find out.
No.
Okay. What is... No, we're not going to do it.
Writing or something, or saving, right?
Yeah, well, yes, that's exactly it. Okay, and we know that we can do both of those together.
Write and quit.
Damn, Cass, that was so fast. Write and quit. Okay, I should probably try to format this stuff, but I can email you guys this as well.
Oh my gosh, yes, please.
What else did we cover? We actually haven't done an SVN commit, and there's a reason for that. Because I don't want you guys committing what you worked on. I cannot wait to see what you guys worked on. So
It's going to be so much fun for you.
I'm gonna love it, Scott.
Yeah.
So the last time we worked, I gave you an index file. That was this file right here. Okay, it had a PHP tag, but we haven't covered PHP yet. It had the doc type, HTML tag, the head, and the body. And I said, this is your sandbox. Have some fun with it. Then we didn't do anything last week, so I gave you homework to put a button on the screen that when you click on it, it does an alert, and I don't even remember what it's supposed to say. Is it supposed to say anything?
It worked.
I
Yeah,
kind of
that's right.
didn't listen to that part, and I just wrote my own message.
Well, then Cassie gets 10 extra points.
No!
Woo.
Okay,
Big score.
so again, before I get into the title of this particular course, I want to at least kind of do a refresher if you guys don't know. I know you've taken a few like Lynda classes or just online stuff. So this is just the skeleton of what a typical HTML page will have. Since HTML5, the only thing that we need to do to declare a doc type is this. It used to be, oh man, I haven't done it in a long time. It was, here, let's see. See if yeah. So yeah, there was a lot more to it, and actually I'm curious. Here, let's...
Like doc type, HTML, blah, blah, blah.
HTML4 doc type. Okay. Let's see what this does. So again, W3 schools. This actually isn't completely accurate because there's a bunch of things that you'd actually have to do. Here you go. So strict standards, transitional, frame set, strict. So this was, gosh, it's been a long time since I've done this. I will say that these two were the ones that I saw the most, I believe, but I think strict was the one that I worked with. Or XHTML. So, but luckily we don't have to do all this gobbledygook anymore because of HTML5 standards. So it's just this now, and that's the requirement. So we set the doc type. HTML is kind of the whole container. So you'll notice with HTML, it's the markup language is pretty much if you start something, you have to end it. There's a few exceptions to that, but the tag is the container, and then you'll put stuff in. So a head and a body, those two are the key components of an HTML. The head is stuff that you generally don't see on the page. This is kind of the metadata. You put your scripts, you put your style stuff in here. You can put it outside, but general practice is you put it in the head. The body is for your content. And then we have some general ones. H2 is just a heading type tag. There's H1 through H6, and each one is bigger. And you guys know this, right?
Yeah, H1's the biggest and H6 is the smallest.
Yeah. So, and I don't think I've ever used an H6 in my entire life. So, let's see.
Tiny.
Yep. So we'll keep that H2. A div is just a container, and when we get into CSS, we can kind of break out what a div is compared to a span tag. It's mainly how it's treated in the layout and how it exists on the page. So that is kind of the general overview of the HTML page. All right. Are you ready for the title of this class?
So ready?
JavaScript sucks. And I think both of you would agree, right? I heard that a ton this past week. I hate JavaScript. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of JavaScript. For the record, there's a reason I'm a back-end developer. It's not because I hate JavaScript, but it's more of I would rather never work with it. And there's a much better, since I'm a PHP developer, it's a much better language for my mind, and yeah, I just don't like the front end stuff as much, but I can do it. And it's important to know it. Frankly, JavaScript is kind of your first chance to get logic on a website without needing a server. So, like I had asked, click a button and it does something. JavaScript pretty much makes your page come alive, and the people who are good at it do crazy, amazing things. I'm not good at it, but I can write it enough. So, on that note, let's check out your guys' pages. So, let's see. Let me get this open, and actually, I'll leave W3 Schools open just in case we need to reference anything. So, who should I look at first? Jen, I kind of saw yours, and Cass, I haven't seen yours. So, I'm gonna go with Jen first. Oh, jeez.
Jen's is much better than mine.
No, I just picked prettier pictures.
What a douchebag on that screen.
Gaze into his eyes.
I don't want to. Hold on to your butts.
It's from Jurassic Park.
Yeah, I know. Which thankfully he was not in. So what is this line from?
I don't really. Well, I had to look it up, but I forgot. It was like a Samuel L. J. generator thing.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Deep Blue Sea. Okay. Yeah, you see ice. Okay. And then, is she dead? Yes or no? Is this still Samuel Jackson?
Yeah, all of that is.
All right. What is this from? Jackie Brown. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, no, I'm cool with this. Matt Smith's cool. I like him. Shit. Got a little bit of responsiveness in
Oh
there.
shit! I didn't even know that was in there. Well, yeah, of course I did. I did that on purpose.
Too bad. Yeah. Well, that's weird. Okay. So you have three. Oh, is this one? Okay,
Yeah, I
I
tried to
see what
do
it
like
is.
separate columns, but I couldn't really figure out how, so it's just one big paragraph.
Interesting. Okay.
That was
But this here, you have, oh, I see some errors.
no.
Uh-oh, server responded in status of a 404. Okay, the favicon is my fault. Script.js. So it looks like you're calling something that doesn't exist.
Oh, is it
Super
that time?
Foxy, awesome, hot website.
So
Okay.
true.
Did you like copy and paste this? Is this just
Yeah,
legacy
that
from something?
was like when I first started trying to do the button, like it wasn't working, so I tried throwing that in there, and I don't think it does anything, honestly.
It doesn't because you need a script file,
Oh,
and in here there's nothing. So it looks like the script does not exist.
alright, well, if I just
No,
delete
it doesn't
it right
exist. It's a
now.
404. It's no big deal. And then
There's me deleting it.
uh, okay, so you set up three images, and let's see, class dir, which I assume is for the doctor.
Yes. Dir.
Derp, derp. Uh, and dir just has a margin. Okay. Okay. It doesn't look like they're floating. And you have a header here. Okay. Um, okay. Is I will say bravo because honestly I was just thinking you guys were gonna put some text and maybe add a picture. So this is definitely more than that. Okay, behold the button of
Too
destiny.
excited. Mine's not that great.
Cash, should I have gone first? Did I make this awkward?
Only if I get like all the brownie points.
Okay.
No, we're
Well,
not cutting points.
well, you know what? I'll be super picky on this. This doesn't hover. What the hell, Jen? I don't even know if this is a
I
button.
don't know how to do that.
Jeez Louise.
Oh no,
Okay. All right, easy.
it's awful.
Easy. All right, I'm ready. I'm ready to click the button. Oh, what is that? Do you see the flicker?
Yeah, it's cool,
Oh,
right?
okay.
I don't know what it does or how
No,
it
no,
got
no,
there.
no. No, 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 no. Alert box. Okay. Nice. Okay, you got an alert. And how did you pull off the alert?
Magic.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so you have my function. Okay. And on button, click. Perfect. And super easy.
Yay.
Okay. How do I lamp?
Uh,
You two are just so ridiculous. That damn show. Um,
Great show.
what does this say on there? What? Here, hold on.
I don't know.
What
It's
does-
from when they were drunk.
Yeah, there's like a whole episode of them getting
No,
drunk and like,
no, it's the bitch. It's the bachelor party.
yeah.
Yeah, believe me, I'm married to Sarah. I've watched the show just as much as you guys. Oh, okay. So let's check out. So now Cass.
Oh, you got rid of the tab things.
Oh god, it was too complex.
The tab
So,
thing?
yeah, I had this whole tab system instead of an unordered list
Mm-hmm.
written down, but it was too much JavaScript.
Oh, it needed JavaScript.
Okay. Well, keep in mind what you're originally trying to do, and I would love to try to actually make it. Um, so we don't need to do that now, but let's see some things, and I'll have some actual. Okay, so this particular image right here looks like. Here, I'm gonna actually open that in a new tab. Okay, so it is that large, and let's see how much space it's taking up. So this is taking up the full size of this image. Now, if you want to center it, because so it looks like you have this whole thing, you have a margin on
I
it.
was attempting to center it, and then it was centered in my browser, but not yours.
My browser too. So this is interesting.
Well, your browser may be
Fine.
smaller than mine, because it might be like this, right? Does it look similar to that?
Yeah.
Kind of, except it's
the button got weird.
the button's not so squished.
Sure.
But yeah, it's I couldn't figure out how to actually center it, so I just used margin.
The like auto thing.
Well, it actually is margin. It's just a different way of doing margin. So
I tried to do auto margins, but those didn't work. So
mhm. So the reason for that is you actually need a container with a specific width on top of it. So this body doesn't look like it has a full width. So let's see. Can I actually add a div in here? Okay. I'm gonna go into your
pretty.
Here. I'm gonna sudo to.
Actually, how the hell did I get mine centered?
Okay.
I don't even know how I did that.
So I will go in yours real quick, Cass, and we'll do this. Dang it. Okay, so VI. You'll notice after some time you'll constantly end up doing like CD trying to VI into something. So, all right, so if I want to look for an image, I can just do /image to pop right there. Okay. So for the auto center trick that you want, we actually need a div container. And I won't specify here. I'm going to put an ID on this for, I'm going to do center trick. And in the meantime, when we get back to the other, when we get back to the page, I will kind of, do you guys know the rules of IDs versus classes?
I don't remember. I know we talked about it.
I looked that up today, and IDs are supposed to be like used like just once per item or whatever, right? And classes can encapsulate multiple things.
Yes. So an ID stands for the unique identifier on the page. It means only one thing on this page can be named with this ID. So let's say here you have your one image. If you want to give that an ID of bachelor party, and nothing else would have the ID of bachelor party. Jeez Louise. Sorry, I'm scrolling down now.
See, those are all out of sync too. Anyway.
Well,
I told you it's not as pretty as Jen's.
Well, here's the thing. We might actually, this might be a good chance to fix it in the sense of get it to the actual setup that you want. Like on any browser, where this image is going to be center. Like we're going to go over those tricks today. This is going to be a bit of CSS, and then we might not actually cover JavaScript. I just think it'd be funny to title the lesson.
Well, that's actually like brilliant if you call it JavaScript sucks and then just talk about CSS the whole time.
Sounds good. Well, we're talking about identifiers and classes, and frankly, they both play a part in CSS and JavaScript. It's just kind of the target on how we can tell CSS or JavaScript to do something to this certain element. Now, the thing about classes, let's say you have a list like this, and you really actually want all of these images to be 25% of the screen and you want them all to kind of stack a certain way. You would have them all be the same class because really all these elements are supposed to act the same way.
I actually did use class for that, but I didn't do enough things apparently.
Well, it looks like there's a floating issue here, because here, we'll check this out. So the small image, the image itself is floating, which looks like you're putting an inline style on here. Cool thing about classes is you don't need to do an inline style. So all you got to say is dot small image float left, and it will cover all of these things that have a small image. And they all inherit that one bit of CSS. Now there's certain rules on like...
Oh, I didn't even realize I left the style in there. That was old.
So a thing about the style is any inline style takes top priority. It's like your overwrite. Yeah, it's not good it's not good practice for a lot of things. Sometimes it's an absolute necessary of needing an inline style there, but generally, if you don't want to, or if you want to be able to pull out the style and be able to manage it in an easier way, having the inline ones you'll just want to get rid of them.
Well, inline styles you should only use like if you have like a random, like just like only on an as-need basis, and like try to avoid it, or.
Yes, I would say. Okay, here's a good / bad example of using an inline style. Let's say something broke on production, and like something has horrible alignment. You actually don't know where this file or where it's being set, and you need to just get down and dirty and fix it. You can just put an inline style just to not have to track down where all the pieces are. Honestly, you don't want to be in that situation because making hot fixes to production site is never a good thing. But sometimes you got to do what you got to do. And if you ever want to piss off Kevin Yamada, do inline styles.
All the inline styling.
I do them because I'm lazy. I'm like, hey, here it is right here. I'm just going to inline style it, and then he has to see it and clean up my shitty CSS. So, anyways, back to our auto center. So,
I'm sorry, could I ask one question real quick?
Of course. What's up?
Okay. Just like the whole like float like left or right or whatever stuff. Because I kind of messed with that for a little bit, but is there like, I don't know if you were gonna get around to it or not, but like explaining it, but like, is there a way to like control how it floats, or is it just like it literally just like will float wherever the hell it wants to, or something?
I will most definitely cover floats.
Okay.
I may cover a bit of it tonight, depending on time, but who knows?
I just know that's a...
Yeah, there's honestly like probably a good half an hour we can just cover on floats. It can be really confusing when you're first getting to it, because it's like, it's just magic, and I don't understand how this works. And there's like a bajillion references online that you can see, but sometimes it's just nice seeing it in action just to like plant the seed of the idea in your head, and then once you do get a grasp of it, it's much easier to read or watch other people do it. So, but we'll do the center trick or the margin auto stuff. So right here we have this image and they're slightly off. And let me make a little room so I can get it. Or here, even better. Come on. I just want to be at the bottom. There we go. That's what I wanted. Okay, so the nice thing about Chrome, or if you want to program in Firefox, they have Firebug. Even Internet Explorer does this, and Safari, I believe. So you can actually do inline or like live CSS stuff just to kind of play around with things. So you have this made image, right? And you have this margin. And right now, first off, do you guys know how margins work? Or padding or anything like that?
I kind of just mess around with it until it works. I always forget which one is which.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't quite figured out what's the point of like the differences between margin and padding, even though I know it's that like little box in the corner right there.
Yep, it's this guy right here. So the black border right here is your container. Okay. The margin is just the space outside of your container. The padding is the kind of buffer inside of your container that will then contain your content. So, and we can actually do it on my page because I have nothing on my page. It'll be easier to see. But let's cover some of the basics for margin on how you write it. So here you have 0, 80, 0, 80. Now how margins start, or margin and padding. So this is both, okay? So it actually starts at the top. So right now you have a 0 pixel margin at the top. Then you have an 80 pixel margin on the right. You have a 0 on the bottom, and you have an 80 on the left. Like if I wanted to increase the left, see how it's moving it over? Okay, so it starts at the top, the first number is the top, and it goes clockwise. So top, right, bottom, left.
Or northeast, southwest.
Yeah, sure. That works as well.
Never eat shredded wheat.
Shredded wheat?
Oh, well done.
Yeah. Boom.
I have no idea what the hell you guys are talking about.
Northeast, southwest. Never eat shredded wheat.
Mmm.
Or never eat sour watermelons.
You.
Or soggy waffles.
Oh, definitely soggy. I like that one. Never eat soggy waffles. I'm writing that in the official notes.
Excellent.
Never eat. That I actually feel like needs to be the title of this lesson. Never
it's no longer JavaScript stuff.
eat. Shit, how the hell do you spell soggy? Soggy.
OGG1.
Yeah. Waffles. Never eat margin and padding.
That's how I learned my compass directions when I was little.
Top, right, bottom, left. And I'll fix that. Okay. So now into fixing that. Now there's a shorthand for margin and padding. So you can just say one number that would affect all. So if I wanted just a 100 padding or margin on everything, I could just say this and it will actually do 100 top, 100 right, 100 bottom, and 100 left. Okay? So that is one shorthand for it. Another shorthand is you can just do two numbers. And this will represent the first number being top and bottom. So let's say 50. And then the second number would be right and left.
Oh, cool.
Okay?
So I didn't even need those other two numbers?
Exactly. You
could have been simplifying this whole time.
Yeah, you could have. Here, we'll do it. You'll notice that there's going to be no change if it's going to let me edit it. Here. There we go. No change. So,
Cool.
so,
Magic.
and herein lies the trick on how we're going to do this, the centering trick. So generally with centering, you can do a 0, then an auto, but you notice nothing happened, okay? And the reason is auto needs to rely on its parent. So it's going to automatically just divide the margin based on the width of its parent. Right now, main image has no idea how big its parent is supposed to be. There's nothing actually setting its rule. And its parent is just automatically going to its parent width. But that doesn't help the auto of this image. So as soon as we set a width to, we're going to say width, and we'll do 1,000 pixels. Okay? Actually, that doesn't help you at all because we should do that. Okay, then main image, let's see. It's not doing it. Why is it not doing that?
Is it something with my,
No.
What are you defining there? You're just defining that whole section? Or like the space that the picture is supposed to be floating in?
Yeah, so normally the auto should, and I'm trying to think why it's not off the top of my head. Okay, because you can actually set, let's see,
Oh,
we
did you
want
update
to,
the CSS?
well, that's what we're doing right now. We're actually updating on the fly. So 30%,
Fancy.
that doesn't make sense. Because it's not 30, oh. We're gonna do,
Oh.
so that
What is
there,
happening?
what's happening?
Or like why is the margin and the or never mind, I'm gonna stop talking.
Okay. No, I'm trying to think if it's, here, we're gonna do something real quick. Out of curiosity, I don't know if it's me or something else that I'm missing. So I'm gonna copy this and I'm gonna open up my IDE and we're gonna say div ID image. Oh. Look at you with your alt text. Good job.
Ooh.
Do you remember doing that in the that Cherry Road?
Yeah.
I do, but I think I forgot some of it later on. Maybe I didn't.
The alt text? I didn't put any on mine because I'm a terrible person.
Okay.
You're a terrible person, Jen.
I
How dare
know.
you.
What?
Okay. So I think I'm remembering what the issue is. So right now this width, actually, this doesn't have a width. And this guy right here, I will just say, if I did margin auto or margin 0 auto, that's not going to do anything. As soon as I give it a width of 100% is not going to work. What's the width of this thing? 928. 928 pixels. Come on. Why is that saying it's illegal? Because I misspelled width.
Don't misspell things.
Thank you, Cass.
Lesson 1.
Done. That actually is a really good lesson because you will just discover just a lot of times that you'll end up misspelling crap that is just going to drive you crazy.
You know why I think my button wasn't working? I think I either had a space or I forgot to put a, what is it, semicolon? Colon?
Oh.
After something. That's
Oh.
work.
Actually, that shouldn't be the case. We'll check it out, actually. Okay, so I figured out the margin thing. It's actually on the container itself. The container is the one that's doing the auto. I believe it's because it's an image. So you'll set the margin, but you'll see it's always centering right now. So let's go back to your page, Cass,
Mm-hmm.
and let's see if we can get this resolved. So we have our div, and this here we will take out the margin, and we're going to set up a 928 and margin auto. There we go. So that resolved it there. So it's actually the you need to have a container where it has an actual width. And then it knows, okay, I exist at 928 pixels. Like that's my real physical body, or this is my real digital body on this page. So I can now calculate my margin based on my parent, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's the trick there. Is
Gotcha.
you need to make sure that the container. So it's nice to wrap images because then you can position them a lot easier. Generally, and also set the widths easier because the way images treat width is a little different because this is let's see, it's a little harder to do it in CSS to set widths and stuff like that. So being able to set it on a div is good. So let's get back.
Can I interject before you get still on the whole image floating in the middle thing? Because I didn't do that for mine, and I now am not even sure how the hell I got it to float in the middle.
Well, let's check it out.
Did I just like stumble into it like on pure blind luck?
So you have a height on it, and border radius.
Look at all his jackets. He's so beautiful.
I know. Look at that layering.
Jeez Louise. You know what? Let's see, background position is just the background.
Yeah.
I'm wondering.
My header CSS is really confusing too, but anyway.
That's fine. Here, we're gonna try something to see if we can get this replicated similarly. So 100%, and then you actually have a height set on that image.
Oh yeah, because it's bigger than I wanted it to be, so I had to scale it down.
Shrink it down.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
is that the magic word making it?
It's worth a try. Yeah, that didn't do shit. Well, it looks like you actually have everything centered on your page.
Yes.
So this might be a text align center. There you go. So that's what did it. So since you have everything centered that way, the body is like kind of the overall parent of everything.
Mhm.
So having that, everything's just based on the center. So it's symmetrical, but you're basically just having it set up in that way. And this probably has a width on it, right? So this paragraph for the article has a max width of 500. So
Yeah,
yeah.
one of it.
So that is the trick that you used. It works with positioning. I generally don't do it, but there's a million different ways to skin a cat. But I would say when you're getting into full-on containers, because I see some articles, and it's funny, you're using a lot more HTML5 elements than I do. I'm not hip and cool like some people.
One being hip and cool?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So header and article. There's another element type called section that were introduced in HTML5, and it was meant to. They all have different purposes, and if we looked up W3 Schools HTML5 article, let's see. The definition tags specifies independent, self-contained content. So that's its purpose. General or potential sources for an article would be a forum, blog post, news story, and comment. You have a header one, which is generally for it's supposed to be the introductory content or the container or a set of navigational links. So we used to have just the H1, and then you'd put a div and make a ID of header on a div. But now that we have a header, it's like mainly just for putting at the introductory content or.
So does the header tag actually like define? I mean, other than for the sake of like the programmer knowing what the hell they're programming, but like, does it actually define like how it act, like what?
Not really.
Because like I have like I think a border or whatever, and it's only like 2 pixels, but it's like massive. Oh, the padding is 2 pixels.
You have padding.
Is it because I picked padding and that's why it's like?
I think it's padding. Here, do we want to look at that? Okay, so padding's on the inside.
Oh.
Okay, so your header is right here, and you have padding of 2 pixels. Let's see what that does. Oh, that's crazy.
Right?
Interesting. Well, oh, you know what? That's
what I was doing.
I think it's actually because if you change it, it's not like going crazy. It's going based on pixel. But I think what that's doing is, gosh, I'm not going to be able to explain this right.
Is it because I did something like the wrong way and it's just like?
No. So the way that, I'm not going to be able to explain this the right way.
I'll Google it later.
Yeah. Okay. Because even if you were to put here, let's look at your. I think it's mainly because it's just an H1 tags here. So when there's no padding at all, it's kind of just wrapping itself, or it's just there, right?
Yeah.
As soon as a padding exists, here, let's see.
But I don't even know why like the color is like extending past the text that way.
The colors extend
or like the
past the text.
Background is like not. It's like.
Well, this is actually making the entire element that large. So if you were to actually hover over this, and let's, I'm going to make the padding a little bigger so we can see it. So that green there is the padding. You see that? So that in itself is 19 pixels. Okay. If we were to make it 5, you see the green is just a very small edge.
Right.
Okay, so because the padding is existing on this, the element in itself is acting. It's changing a property on itself because yeah. Let's see. Okay, you have an H1 Cass. Well, your font size is so. Let's see. I'm trying to see if there's any difference for Cass. Oh, yeah, there's. The div is well, this is just an H1. Yeah, I will actually make a note to myself to see if I can find the issue. Find out why.
I mean, incidentally, I like the way it looks, but I'm like, why?
Yeah. Okay, so that's a note to myself. And okay, so we were talking about new element types for HTML5, and these aren't really new because HTML5's been around for a few years now. So a header is meant to be a container for the introductory content. Same as footer. So there's a couple rules here, like a header can't be placed in a footer because it's a footer, address, or another header element. So there's a couple of general rules to be used. And let's see, section is another one. Section is defined sections of a document such as chapters, headers, footers. Section I've been seeing as more of the div, like the general div these days. And actually, is a header block display? Okay. And then lastly, you have, what do you have on here? You have, I don't know. It looks like you just have headers and articles. I would probably switch those out with sections.
Okay.
But it's not really that big a deal right now. Okay, going with Cassie's button, right? So I'm hitting this and it works. And I thought you said it didn't work, Cass.
Oh, it didn't a while ago, and then I figured out that I left too many spaces in something, or I don't think I misspelled anything, but I had some little grammatical thing that was making it not work.
Okay. Well, I have to say both of you used the on-click event, which is good. That's exactly what I wanted you to do on the button. Now, an on-click can work for a lot of different things, but a button is a good one to do it on. You can also do. Let me get this crap off of mine.
How dare you?
How dare I?
Crap.
How dare I? This is my server we're working off of, and you guys put a bunch of Sherlock pictures.
I put some Matt Smith in there for you.
I appreciate that.
I made it not just Cumberbatch for you.
Yes. She has a bunch of other people on her page.
Jeez. Okay, so you have a button, right? So this is a button that you ended up using. My button. Okay, so the button has all of these on events so that you can track the event. You ended up using on click, which is exactly what we needed to use. A lot of these don't apply, or they're super specific. Like on key down, it's like a click, but it's on when you're actually pressing down on it. On up is when you let go. So the on click is actually both of those events.
Wow, that's very specific.
Yeah.
Now on key down also applies to actual keys. So like a key press. So like on key down, actually,
What's the difference between down and press?
well, let's read.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Fires when it presses down on a key while the element is in focus. All right, so that's my bad. Let's test this out. And I'm not going to waste too much time on this, but because these are kind of rare use cases, so we'll do key down, and then we're going to do a different one for on key press. So you can have multiple events being tracked on the same button. So let's say on click. We'll do an on click. So did you guys do a my button? It's so tiny. But I had you guys actually do an alert. Now, there's another really useful thing when you're debugging JavaScript, and you can do a console log. So on this, you actually see this console, and if I click on this, well, I have an illegal token. Where's my illegal token? Awesome. Oh, but I got rid of all of that. There we go. That was weird. Okay. What the fuck? Oh, do I need to put a semicolon here?
Damn semicolons.
Well, I'm trying to think if there's any other issues that may be coming up. So, let's see what the error is. Yep, still getting the same error. So syntax error in 11. Okay. I will tell you generally I don't put that many on there. So we're going to... Oh, and by the way, for this editor, because I think you're both using Aptana, if you want to ever duplicate lines like I just did very quickly, all you need to do is, so my cursor is on this line right here, you can press the Alt or Option key and press, or actually Alt or Option and then Command or Control. So let's see. Options on a Mac, right?
Yes.
Do Command. So Option Command and then a down arrow, and that will duplicate that line. You can also do an up arrow to duplicate up, and it's super useful. Like let's say I wanted to just do an H2 tag and another div right below this button. I can just highlight all of that and then duplicate it and move it down.
Ooh.
Yeah, and so the Alt command, right? Alt command will duplicate it, and then you can actually let go of command and just press Alt and then move it. So it's a nice little trick that I use and I love. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna get rid of these guys, and I'm gonna get rid of, we're just gonna do, let's see if I'm still getting an illegal, oh, that's what happened, shit. I found the error.
Yeah.
I'll show you. I forgot to put a quote right there. So always, if you start a quote, end a quote. And a good practice that I used to learn, or that I used to do, but I guess I didn't do it just then, is when you start it, just go ahead and close it, and then go back into it, and then so that way you already know that it's opened and closed, so you don't have to worry about finding an error super later and trying to debug what the heck went wrong. So I clicked it. So that console log will just print it in the console for me. So if I were to, can I not put a button in focus? Okay, so there we go. So key down. Let's see, can I get it back in focus? Check. Okay. So you'll notice there's going to be a key down that I managed to get. And so let's see, am I still tracking? I'm tracking the key down. So the key press actually isn't even doing anything, but what I ended up doing is tabbing through, and it changes the focus of something that's on the page. So it's not really noticeable here, but see, I just clicked it, and currently it's in focus, and then I just press a key. Ooh, I trigger the key press with an enter. That's interesting. Okay, so the key down event is still fired on a key press, but key press only is fired. Let's see if I. Okay, I guess it doesn't work for tab, but it works for every other thing. So it's not much different, but key down looks like it's triggered more if I do a tab. Oh well. You really don't have to remember that, and we spent a long time on that. The one that you'll find more useful, unless you need to get into really specific things, is on click. Okay. Well, let's see. We covered a lot, and I actually wanted to make sure your guys' sites that you worked on get into SVN. But before we do that, here's a issue that we're going to come across. So Jen, you worked on this page, which is your index.php page. Cassie, you worked on this page, which is your index.php. By the way, let's spend next class going over this, and if we don't have time tonight.
I'll fix it.
No, I mean, I just want to go over the, because you're trying to get all of these in a certain way, and evil double crossing much, really?
Pretty much.
I kind of like her, but she tried to kill Sherlock, and she broke poor John's heart.
All true.
Spoilers.
I mean, if anyone manages to get to this site, not that it's on the internet at all, but if anyone did manage to get there and they hadn't seen it yet, then that's their own problem.
Yeah. Well, it's not just this site if they were watching this video. Currently, we have 0 viewers,
forever.
so yeah. Okay, but getting back to my original point, you guys are both working on the same file, right? So that actually is a huge issue with SVN.
Oh.
In the sense that you guys are doing totally different things. So these are really two different pages, not the same page. Now, if Jen, you decided you were working on this top half, and Cass, you were working on this part, then you guys can work in the same file in SVN. But if we tried to commit both of these, SVN would say these are two different pages that you're trying to merge together. The merge is not going to go well, and we're going to have an issue. So what we're going to do is turn these into their own pages. So right now you have let's see, both index files. Let's get into, I'm going to log out on mine. And
Wow.
okay, so I have an index file, which is totally different than your guys' index file, which is totally different from your other. Sorry, I don't know where I was going with that. But I say we actually rename these files. So Cassie, can you make yours Cassie.php and Jen make yours Jen.php, which reminds me of another thing that we covered. We had covered both copy files, so CP stands for copy, MV stands for move, or rename. So you can move MV this to this. It essentially changes its location from something to something. So, and that also naming things. So even though the location isn't changing, I'm moving its name to something else.
Oh, I did it.
So, Jen, you did mv index.php jen.php?
Yes.
Okay. So mine would be scotty.php, right?
I don't even remember the name of the program that we're using to...
Oh, iTerm
Oh.
Or terminal.
or terminal. Which I just have to keep doing PWD and LS to constantly know where I am, because my dumb little...
No, that everybody does that actually.
Oh, okay,
It's
cool.
just, it's honestly muscle memory for me now. Like my brain just triggers, like I'll change directories, I'll just list it out real quick and make sure that it works.
I'm not sure what happened, because I had iTerm 2 weeks ago, or Terminal, or whatever, but it is not on my computer now.
Oh.
Oh no. Okay, well,
That's exciting.
let's
Mystery.
resolve that elsewhere. It's totally fine. Via the magic of Linux, I can actually log in as UCAS and do this for you.
Yay!
So I'm going to, SU stands for super user. I'm going to log in as root. So I went from Scotty to root. So now I have control over everything.
Should name it Groot.
But there's another trick. So I can actually super user dash Cassie, and this logs in as Cassie. So I'm Cassie right now.
Okay.
No!
Identity theft.
Seriously.
Yeah, I've done this this is how I managed to commit Yamada's files when he was on vacation.
Sneaky.
So when we go to Hawaii, this
Exactly.
happens.
Then you can say, oh, Scott will just sudo into mine and take care of it.
Oh, is
okay.
this sudo? Like,
Well, super users, sudo is slightly different. This is like a little more powerful, but you shouldn't do it that easily. I'm actually kind of bad about it. So we'll go into sudo in a much, much later lesson. Okay, so Cassie. Cassie right now is moving index.php to Cassie.php. Okay. Now, as Cassie, if I were to do, now remember, we're on SVN. So if I did an SVN status, which is just checking the status of my checkout, it will say, hey, there's a question mark here, meaning this is a file that's not really on SVN, which would make sense. We just made this file. And then it says, hey, there's an exclamation mark. Something's wrong with the index.php that you last checked out. So what we can do now is do an SVN up, and the reason why we're doing this is essentially we just deleted index.php. We're going to do an SVN up to recover that. So you see how it says I restored the index.php. So now I have Cassie and the old index.php. So if I went to Cassie, how do you lamp right now? It's the old one. Okay, but if I went to /cassie.php, look at that. So it's this new file that I just made. So Jen, if I go here, you just did the hello world, and I'll do jen.php, and there's your thing. So here's the cool thing about that. We can now commit both of these files because they're new, and then both of our sites will have it, or everybody's sites will have it. So I'm going to go in as Cassie, and we're going to do our first commit. So if I did an SVN status again, that, hey, there's a question mark because SVN doesn't know about this cassie.php. Is there something you want to do with it? So there's an SVN add. So I want to add this file to the repo. So, and let me add some notes just to make sure I know what we covered. So SVN status, SVN checkout, okay, SVN add to repo, and lastly we will do a SVN commit, which will commit to SVN. So essentially what happens is the add kind of preps it to be committed, but it's still not technically in the repo. So this is a two-phase thing. We'll do SVN add Cassie, or Jen, you'll do SVN add Jen.
Okay.
And I don't know if you got the tab working, but so it's just type in a few letters and hit tab and it should autocomplete. But if it doesn't, we can figure that out for you, Jen.
Still not working.
Damn it.
Well, just type it out.
Okay. It's such a long file name. It's crazy.
I know, my name is so long.
So long. Okay, so I'm going to hit this. I'm going to hit enter right now, and it says, so it changed from the question mark to an A. It means that it's ready to be added.
Oh,
Yay!
great.
So all I have to do now is an SVN commit. Now, before I commit, I'm going to do -m, which stands for message, and I'm going to, just in quotes, I'm going to write a message, added Cassie okay, and then I committed that, and it says I added cassie.php, I transmitted the file to the repo, and I committed the revision 14. So I'm currently on revision 14. Now, Jen, let me know when you've done that.
I did it. I have committed revision 15.
Sweet. So if I do an SVN up now, which was what I ran earlier to get the old, like the last revision back, if I do an SVN up, I should see jen.php. So there you go. I added jen.php to mine now, so if I list everything out, I now have index, Cassie, and Jen. So if Cassie, if I change this to Jen, that exists now. So we're starting to actually get a website. We have 3 pages on our website now.
Oh.
So, and we still have just the index, which is super boring. It's a hello world. And that should apply to both Jen and Cass. And if I go, did you already run the up,
Yep.
Jen? So now you have Cassie's and Jen's. Sweet.
Let's see.
Okay. Now we're gonna actually add a menu real quick. So I am going to log out as Cassie, because Cassie, you're all good now. And we're gonna do our first PHP thing. And this is kind of, we'll wrap up tonight just to kind of make a website that works. Okay. So here I will. Oh, I need to run an SVN up. Get both of you guys' now. So I restored index to its proper name, and I'm good. So I'll say Cassie and Jen. So our site is our Benedict Cumberbatch site is starting to come around, and here we go.
Oh, how did you do that?
How did I do this? So I just did a refresh. So F5 on it actually will just go back because we connect on the server. It'll just go say, hey, is there anything new? And then it'll refresh it. So I'm on index, and I made my own thing, which is not really anything, but so I won't commit that. So what we're going to do here, and I'll make this on the fly just to have it. So header is how, and we'll do, I won't do an H2. I'm going to do just a span real quick. So span, just a small container that's supposed to be inline. How do you okay, and here, if I go back to mine, okay, how do you lamp? And I will now add, we'll do a quick unordered list. So U stands for unordered. You can also do an ordered list. So unordered lists are just bullets, and I can show you real quick. And I'll write this out and then explain it a bit. So Jen's and okay. If I showed you this, okay, so Jen's page, Cassie's page. So now I have links going to all of them, and I will actually make one last link going to home. So home. Okay. All right. So home goes back to my own thing, Jen and Cassie. And why don't I'm gonna pretty this up just a little. Just make it actually work as a nav. So we got header. So I want to call header an unordered list. I want the list element, so I want the unordered list to actually float right. So I want to push this all the way over to the right. Okay. Then I actually want the list elements to float to the left, and I'll break it down a little bit more. And actually, I want the header to only be. I want the header to only be like 80%. So with 80%, and okay, so it's long, and for each list, I'm gonna add a margin. I'm gonna add a margin of 15 pixels for each of them. So this should push it down a little bit, and now we have that kind of thing going. And I'm gonna actually have the span. What should I have the span do? Actually, I'm not gonna have the span do anything. I'm gonna move the span into this and make it a list element. Okay, and to actually say I want, I'm trying to remember the syntax, CSS first list child. Actually, first of list. You can, first child. There you go. So I want this actually doesn't need to be float right anymore. Oh. Yes, it does. Damn it, it's not gonna work. So what I was thinking of doing is incorporating all this into one list, all that top, but I want this guy to be on the left, and I want all of these guys to just be thrown on the right, but to be floated. So there's a couple ways of doing that, and nothing is coming to me all that quickly. So why don't we just move the span back, and I can resolve it later. So, and why don't I just throw this? This isn't the best practice, but you'll understand why I want to keep this, or I'll keep this all contained as one. So I have a nav kind of that now has 3 links that I can navigate throughout our site. It would be useful if it was on all of these pages. So I could either take all of this content and just copied it over to Jen's, and then that screws up a bunch of stuff.
No.
Whose eyes? Oh, jeez. You know what? Instead of a header, because you're usually do this as a div, and with the ID of header, and we'll the ID of nav. And there's nav elements as well, but it's 10:44, and Sarah's probably like, I've been done with Supernatural for about 40 minutes now. Where's Scotty? Okay.
Whoa.
Okay, did this get screwed up? Yeah, it did. Unordered list.
Make the nav work.
Make the nav work. It's probably because it's just inside of it. Okay. It's not letting me put the styling in the... Or did I just break everything? Where did it go? ID nav. So this is how you call an ID in CSS. If you have a class, you would do dot. I think both of you guys were both doing that in your actual pages. So there you go. And if I move this here, that should, okay, so it's good. And if I wanted to just prove a point real quick, I could move this over to Jen's. And now Jen kind of has some broken pages. This header thing, I don't quite understand what's going on. Why don't I move it after the header? Let's see what that does. There we go. We can resolve it. We're just getting into proving the point. So now I can click back here, and then I can click the Jen's page, but it's kind of a pain in the ass. I got to manage this on 3 pages. If I end up having more, pages. I'm going to have to edit all of them. I'm going to have to add links to every one of them. It would be nice to have one location that I need to edit instead of just a bunch of them. So in PHP, this is going to be our first PHP thing. And you can do this in other things, but this is a PHP course, so we're going to do PHP. We're just simply going to copy this here.
It's like nesting it.
It is like nesting it. So then I could do how I can call the page. I would just open up PHP tags and say include. I'll do an include for now, but there's other ways. So an include, and it went away on Jen's, which is fine. I haven't included it, but it's on mine now. So all I need to do is keep that one little thing, and I will. So here's Cassie's. I just need to include this, and if I do that, I go to Cassie's. Hey, that's there now. And we're starting to get a bit of a site. And
This is a great Sherlock Cumberbatch site that we have here.
Yes.
how the hell did that happen? You know? I gotta ask. Like, no, it's because I'm teaching both of you two at the same time.
Exactly. What did you think would happen?
For some reason, the thought never even crossed my mind. How idiotic of me. But we actually now have a site that we can go around, and we keep the same content of this. And what's nice, if I actually want to change something in one location, it then now reflects all of the pages. So even if I wanted to add, let's see, no, I'm not going to do it. I almost added Sherlock's homepage, but
Yeah, do it.
I'm not, out of spite. I'm not going to do that. Okay. So Jen. Okay. So this is one very small example on how you can have PHP power some things for you. We'll eventually get into some heavier PHP stuff, but that won't be probably for another 4 or 5 classes. But I think that's probably good for tonight. And what I would say, why don't I actually get both of your guys' sites working? I will run an SVN status. So it looks like I've added this line to your page, Jen, and Cassie's page, and the index page, which shows M for modified. So if I did a status earlier, and it said that I hadn't added this and I hadn't added that. This also shows M for modified. If you ever see a D, you'll see a deletion. So D for deletion, A for add, M for modified. So I'm going to add the nav, and I'm going to commit added nav. Okay, so that went ahead and added that. Jen, you can run an SVN up, and now your site will it'll have all of them connected. Cass, I'm going to log in as you so that you have that as well.
Oh,
Yeah, I'll re-download that tomorrow or something.
SVN up, skipped. Summary of I've skipped paths. Uh-oh. Oh, because I'm not in LAMP. That would be why. SVN up. There you go. So Cassie and Jen, you have both of them now. Now, one thing that I would say that you guys can do is, and I'm going to totally regret this,
Say it.
but I want you two to work together on the index page.
Oh man.
So,
With her?
Ew, we have to work together?
Gross.
yeah, right.
We never
So-
work together.
So how this would happen? Right now, the index page is totally empty. Generally, on a website, there may be like a full site that, let's say, one person has to work on one part and the other person has to work on something completely different. But they, in turn, are at least in sync. Like, hey, I know I'm working on this. I'm not going to overwrite your stuff. That type of thing. Come up with what you would want on the index page. And work together. Like, let's say, Jen, you work on the first half, Cass, you work on the second, and just play around with the workflow of SVN. And really, this works for anything, like change control and version control. So even if we were on Git, that same kind of workflow is you're going to be making a change, committing that change, getting it up, and making a new change to that and then committing that. So just over the next week, think about it. If you have any questions, let me know. I think you know where to find me. And I think that's the only homework for this week. I may add some more, but as of right now, no. Oh, by the way, fish fingers and custard, I would probably have made the ant. So there's all these fancy characters. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's am. Yeah, am for ampersand. So that's just the friendlier way to do it. So for the browser. Anyways, I think we're done. Yeah.
Cool.
That's enough for tonight. A lot to go over. I will save these notes right now. I'm doing it
Yay.
on the desktop.
Send that to us.
And smells.
Oh, Cameron does smell. Lamp lesson 2.
I'm not close enough to Cameron to smell her.
What?
I don't know.
Were you asking me how? I don't need to be close to smell him. See? Boom. Take that.
Okay.
See how I turned that around?
I concede.
Okay. All right. It's late, and we all have work tomorrow. So I will talk to you tomorrow.
All right.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you. Thanks for the hard work, you two. I honestly, I really appreciate it because it just shows that I'm not wasting my time. So thank you very much.
Yay. Thank you.
Yeah, I've done this before with 2 other people, and they didn't even try, and then it was just a waste of time. But you guys are trying. It's really appreciated, so thank you.
I'm trying. I'll get
We're
better.
trying to
That's all.
Bartavis
Yeah.
and Matt.
Wait, what about Martavis and Matt?
We're going to steal their jobs from them,
Oh, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
obviously.
for sure.
Obviously, which would be fine because Matt's a grump right now.
Oh.
Oh.
Now he's been working so hard, so I understand why he's a grump.
Anyway.
This vacation will do him some good.
I know, I can't wait. Okay. All right. Well, good class, you two.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. All right, have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.